Hi everyone, and welcome to the Numerology and the Astrology for July 10th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 12, and if you add the 1 and the 2 together, you get the number 3. The number 3 is about positive mind in the midst of living a life that is a roller coaster. And it is a type of mental discipline that holds tight to the goodness in the world and brings hope. Because without hope, all is lost. Without conviction to stand up to the bullies of the world that intend to cause suffering, those same bullies will continue to feel boldened and empowered to spread their hate. The goodness within each person is a force that cannot be stopped when it decides to move. A good act and deed can stop a wall of hate and fear, because even those that are doing hateful acts somewhere deep inside know they are doing something wrong. For some, it might be deeply buried, but that knowing that harming another is wrong does not go away in the games that the mind will try to play out. The way to have compassion for those that hold so much hate is to interrupt their dysfunction with acts of kindness that go against their deep desire to gain power by promoting fear. If you are not afraid of them or what they stand for and choose to hold a force of goodness strongly in your heart, you can shift the power from them and towards a more sane and stable potential. Protect those that are being targeted and hurting. Protect the children from traumas that will impact them for the rest of their lives. Protect those that are afraid and feeling deeply insecure. Your life means little if you do not use that life for the greater good. Do not live a life of selfish indulgence. Live a life that means something in the way that forever changes your soul into a path that leads past the domains of duality and human dysfunction. Become something that you're proud of and that forms a strength in your core that will last for eternity. Okay, on the astrology level, the overly emotional and super sensitive Pisces moon continues to push us either right into our own emotional dysfunction or into the more compassionate side of our soul. As always, the choice is ours. The moon is trying to connect in harmony to the Sun, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, and somehow align with Neptune. Use this energy to be more tolerant and practice cooperation with others. Be perceptive to the suffering and hardship that others are experiencing, and help ourselves and others adapt to this very intense changing world. While you may want to stay in that dreamy place of possibility, you have to do the hard work now to manifest this world into its potential and move it out of its dysfunction. It will be hard and a lot of work. The road ahead is arduous and filled with potential problems and backlash. But the way to a more sane and stable society is actually very clear. Putting others down to hold yourself up is never going to promote healthy societies or peaceful ones. Venus is sextile to Chiron, and there is an awareness of the tremendous amount of healing that needs to happen in the world. While that can be overwhelming, just take one day at a time, one moment at a time, and one choice at a time. Share what you love with others. Actively look for the beauty in the obvious flaws and dysfunctions of humanity. Know that kind words can make a huge difference to someone scared and suffering. Make choices that are going to benefit more than just yourself. We are co-creating a world that is good for the majority, not the elite, wealthy, and powerful minority. Okay, my quote for today. The road ahead is arduous and filled with potential problems and backlash. But the way to a more sane and stable society is clear. Putting others down to hold yourself up is never going to promote healthy societies or peaceful ones. And my blog for today. Maybe it's time to let the old ways die. While the old ways got us to this point, clearly those old ways continue to limit us also. The past was not always the fantasy bond that people try and make it and believe it to be. Memory is a highly selective thing. When we are sad, it's hard to remember the good times. When we are happy, it's hard to remember the bad times. Normal civil society does not want to talk about the terrible things that happened in the past, especially in times of war. That is why our veterans have special places that they go to speak to each other. They need to talk about those moments that happened in war that are not spoken about in polite society. They have their own community that is based on shared trauma, respect, honor, and understanding. Because war is hell. Good people have to do terrible things that haunt them for the rest of their life. Many people learn to cope by talking about them only with those that can understand, relate to, and have also experienced such things. People who were there do not judge, are not shocked, and are good at listening. When you have experienced trauma, talking through it is a way to get a grip on the situation and find personal resolution. My grandfather was not in D-Day, but arrived immediately after. He would never speak about the war. All he would ever say was, "It was a time of great hardship and shocking to witness humanity's inhumanity." That was how he coped. That was his method of dealing with the mental and emotional trauma. We are again living in a time of intense emotional trauma that is very real. It is happening on so many levels psychologically at the same time. We are living in the realization and the awakening of the horror of our own history and past that was swept under the rug. We are living in the realization that about 20+% hold a lot of hate and anger in them that is aggressive and has violent tendencies. We are living in the realization that our government is torturing families and children with no consequences. We are waking up to the horror that humanity with laws that are towards equality will promote people feeling entitled to rage out of control in the name of freedom. We are realizing that mentally ill people intend to control the minds of others with fear and violence. We are realizing that the concept of most perception is a form of insanity. We are realizing that opinion is a justification for appalling behaviors. I know this world can do better. I know that we must call out such terrible things and shine a very bright light on dysfunction. I know that we have to fight to create a country that we are proud of once again. But this time, I want a country that is not glossed over with the illusions of fairness and freedom. I want a country that honestly stands for the words that our founding fathers spoke of. I don't want a country that pretends to be about freedom for all. I want a country that actively does the hard and necessary steps to allow its people to feel truly honored, respected, and given equal chances. Okay, there you go. You guys have a good day. Bye.